Today is a very exciting day because I've been tumbling rocks for an entire month and now it's finally time to take them out and wash them up. Why am I tumbling rocks, do you ask? That's because I plan on making stitch markers out of them. So let's open it up and take a look. I handpicked these rocks when I was up in Lake Superior over the course of a few different trips. The reason why I'm dumping them out here in my grass is because the grit that was used to tumble them is bad for your pipes, so I'm doing it in kind of a deadish area anyways. But here it is with the grit. Let's take a look at it once I rinse it with some water. Would you take a look at all of those beautiful colors? How could I not want to make stitch markers out of these? The process to tumble these took a very long time, a month to be exact, and that's because it went through 4 different stages of tumbling, and it required 4 different levels of grit to be able to get it to where they are right now. A lot of times when you pick rocks up at Superior, they look all shiny and colorful like this already, but once you bring them home and they dry out, they get kind of a chalky finish and a little bit lackluster. So the whole point of tumbling is to have them kind of look wet all the time. And if I was going to be making stitch markers out of these, I wanted them to be the truest beauty that they are. I just ended up getting a rock tumbler from National Geographic. It was just like a hobby tumbler, and it came with packs of the 4 different levels of grits. The first one is to smooth out the sharp edges of the rock. I don't remember what the second one was for. The third one was for pre-polishing, and the 4th one was for the final polishing of the rocks. So let's take a closer look at the rocks that I got. So as you can see here, I am working with so many different kinds of rocks, colors of rocks, lines of rocks, shapes of rocks. And I don't really entirely know the names of all of these. I do know that Lake Superior is known for its agates. With that being said, I actually don't really have a ton of agates. I don't have a lot of luck with finding them, but for those of you who don't know what an agate is, they tend to be more like red with like lines throughout. This one doesn't have very strong line definition, but I think you can kind of get a gist of what it looks like. But there's so many other great ones in here too. Like this one here is, okay, look at that. Like it has normal kind of rock shape, but then it has this like almost opal looking bits throughout it. I don't know. There's a lot of beautiful rocks. I could literally show you every single one of these and just nerd out about it, but that would take a very long time. Let's get back to the stitch marker aspect of what I plan on doing. Before I get too far into my plan for these rocks, I kind of wanted to give a little backstory on why I'm doing this. I love beautiful natural stone stitch markers, and I find that they're really hard to come by, or I just don't know really where to look. I've mainly just been looking off of Etsy because I can't really think of any other place that would have them, and I really like supporting small makers. My favorite stitch marker company is Horsefeather Fiber Arts, but she took a little break, I believe, and hasn't been making a ton of stitch markers. I've bought some from her already and I lost most of them. So I kind of resorted to making my own, and like I said, I've collected these rocks over time from all the times I've been up at the North Shore, and they've just been sitting in this glass jar, not really living up to their full potential. And one day it just occurred to me, maybe I should make stitch markers out of these because they would be absolutely beautiful, and I have, as you can see, a lot to choose from. So my plan with these, which I'm a little nervous for because that's my next step, is to drill a hole through them. So let me pick one out that would be like a good example. Here, let's do this. So I have this white one right here. My plan is to drill straight through the rock and thread like a metal piece with a fastener at the end and like a eye hook at the other end, where I could maybe attach a couple of glass beads to give it a little bit of extra flair, and then attach it to a ring that would slip onto the actual needle itself. I really like the idea of using like brass hardware and maybe black hardware too, to just give it a really fancy look. But yeah, so that kind of brings us to the first hurdle of drilling through a rock. I watched like one YouTube video on somebody who makes jewelry out of rocks, and she basically told you what you need to do to be able to drill a hole through a rock. My main concerns are, like my rocks are pretty tiny, so I need like the tiniest little drill head to get through it. I'm a little nervous about the drill slipping and like hitting and injuring my fingers. And also maybe the amount of time it's going to take to drill through each rock. But I got the right drill, or a drill that I think will work. It's like a hand drill. And then I also got bits that are diamond bits, because that's the only thing that will cut through a rock. And I think we're going to give it a shot and see if it works out. So let's do it. A couple things to note are I have this like hand drill from Goxawee. I know I have it upside down. Rotary tool. And I have this like extra attachment on it to allow for more flexibility and room. I have my safety glasses here, and I have a bunch of diamond bits that I bought that had like really small heads to make small little holes. So the videos told me to do this in water, and someone said they use a sponge to kind of hold the rock onto, so that's my setup here. I'm hoping I don't get electrocuted because I am using a power tool with water. I'm gonna go with this bit right here. It seems very thin and sharp, and I think it will hopefully do the tricks. Okay, you guys, I did it. I made contact. Let's get a better look. I have a hole. This is so exciting. This is literally something I've been like really excited about, but kind of nervous about this entire time. Like, did I buy all this gear for nothing? Is it even going to work? But I don't know if you can see through it. I'm gonna be able to do it. I'm gonna be able to get some hardware to stick through there and make a beautiful stitch marker. Okay, so it didn't take too terribly long to drill a hole through this rock. I would say about 30 seconds to a minute. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just start drilling holes through some more of these rocks for the rest of the night. And yeah, then we'll go and get some hardware. I wasn't allowing myself to go to a bead store yet to get hardware and beads until I knew for sure that the drilling of the hole was going to work. And now that it is, I'm very excited because it's going to be so fun picking out different hardware and beads to make beautiful stitch markers. So stay tuned. Hello, it's a brand new day. And I have a little bit of a haul for you. So I ended up going to Michael's because the bead shop that I wanted to go to is only open during the hours of when I'm working, so that isn't going to work out. But I was actually pretty impressed with a lot of the stuff that Michael's had to offer. So I started out with the hardware section like the type of hardware that I wanted to be using for these stitch markers. Like I was mentioning before, I really want to use like brass hardware and maybe black. They were out of a lot of things. They didn't have enough black hardware for me to have enough to make it look right, so I just stuck with brass for now. And I have more than enough, so it's fine. So I got, I'm gonna come close. I got a lot of these little pin type things to kind of thread everything onto, to then be hooked up onto either a clasp for a progress keeper, or I actually have to run and go grab it, or I'll be using one of these little hoop things. I had purchased these a while ago as a stitch marker, just for plain stitch markers, and it came with a pack of a lot, so I can attach the little jangly deal onto this. I also got a set of 3 different types of pliers and crimpers and cutters here. I used to be really into the beading fad back when I was in middle school, so probably like 15-ish years ago. So I have some experience on like beading and doing all the crimping and all the hardware and stuff, so I was kind of happy, but I have since gotten rid of like all of the tools and everything that I needed for it, so I'm kind of having to repurchase it. But on to the most exciting part. As I said, I kind of wanted to have some accent beads to go along with the stones, so it's not just a rock on hardware. So I did find some beads that I'm really happy with. First of all, I'm going to use these gold beads here as like little spacers in between the more decorative beads and the stone. I also got some black, smaller black beads to bring a little bit of contrast to the stitch markers. And then I got 3 sets of colored beads. So I have this one here. It's actually it's citrine, which I believe helps support creativity. So what a more perfect bead to have on a stitch marker. And then I got some rose quartz. And finally, I got this greenish color. I don't have a ton of green stones, and it's my favorite color, so I want it incorporated with everything to make it nice and earthy. And yeah, so I think I'm gonna play around with this a little bit and put together some stitch markers. Alright, so I made my first one, and I just wanted to show you quick before it gets too dark because the light is going down. But I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. There we go. Look at how cute it is. I did the Progress Keeper version of it. So I have this little stone right down here, followed by 2 little gold spacers, the green bead, 3rd spacer, and then I did a little crimp bead to hold the wire together to make a little progress keeper. I love this so much. I'm a little bit more rusty than I remember. It's a little hard to work with such a small little amount of wire, I guess. I think I may try to actually order a longer wire so I have more to go with. But overall, I'm pretty happy with it. And I definitely am gonna make the rest of these here pretty soon as well. I may take a break for the rest of the night because I kind of just want to start knitting some more and maybe test out my new progress keeper. Yay! But yeah, I definitely will plan to update you on any other ones that I make in the future. But thanks for watching. This is a super fun little activity that's knitty related, but a little different, switches things up a little bit. But yeah, if I inspired you to make any, or if you've been making any to begin with, definitely comment below, and I would love to see the different stitch markers, progress keepers that you make as well.